This is Cydni.
And I'm Sher.
And each week we get together to share with you a message of hope.
It is through our own experiences and personal study that we offer the reminder to seek the light.
And to be the light.
There is hope and there is peace.
And as long as one of us is slightly caffeinated, there will be laughter.
This week's topic is change.
And we're so glad you're here.
I'm forging my way through the tip top. I'm living my life through the drip drop.
So as you know, Cydni, I am getting ready for a pretty big change in my life. I am getting ready to retire from teaching after teaching for over 30 years.
Yay!
But it's kind of scary because I'm really, really bad with change. And I can't believe I'm doing this, but I prayed about if I should retire or not, and a voice just said, nope, not yet. And then the next year I do the same thing. Okay, is this the year I should retire? And it was, nope, not yet. So I was thinking I'd probably teach at least another 10 years. And this year I did the same thing. Is this the year I should get ready to retire? And the voice said yes. And I was like, what?
I have to interrupt because It's crazy. I'm having the same experience in my life, but as a mother. And every year I am praying, is this the year that I should be done mothering these children? And then I hear three little voices that are like, no, not this year. So I also think I might have another 10 years from here. And then we'll reevaluate.
And the voice will say, no.
They'll be like, now that we know what rent and mortgages look like, we would like to stay until we're 40.
Right. That's a good plan. In fact, that's my retirement plan. I'm
actually
actually going to move in with you and your husband and your kids.
Okay, great.
Can I have my own room?
Yes.
And my own space. And your kitchen.
Do you cook?
Not very well, but I could.
Well, you'll fit in well. Okay, let's get back to you though.
Okay, so it's kind of freaking me out that I am getting ready to retire and you and I are going to start doing this podcast. And I just jumped in, and that is not like me. But even though I'm scared of leaving my job, really it's the only thing that in my life that I felt like I've been good at. I can teach really smart kids and kids that struggle and kids that are refugees and homeless and everything in between. I feel like I can do that, and I'm leaving it. And so that's a little scary that I'm just jumping into something that I have no idea what I'm doing.
But I have to ask, were you originally good at it? Were you a natural? What were those beginning years like?
I think the beginning was a little rough.
So our podcast for the next few years will
be
a little rough.
That's for sure. After 30 years.
We're going to be all right. We're going to be solid, mediocre area.
Just okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I am grateful for is that at least I knew this change was eventually going to happen. And so mentally, I've tried to prepare myself. Financially, maybe not quite as well, but I've tried to prepare myself for this moment. I feel like there are different types of changes where you know the change is going to happen. And then there are other changes that you just have no idea, and it just kind of hits you right in the face.
Right. I think no matter what kind of change, it's hard.
Absolutely. It is for me.
Whether it's unwanted change or wanted change, it is difficult because your life gets rocked and we get out of that comfort zone.
That's not fun.
No, it isn't fun. And you've gotten to a place where you can go confidently every day, every week, year after year.
Right.
And you know you can do it. And you still have students who want to go to lunch with you and hang out with you and be involved in your life.
They're older. I want to make that really clear. They're not my students now.
Good clarification.
Thank you.
You have students from the past.
They're older than Cydni.
Well, that's so easy. I mean, youthful as can be.
Lies.
But you still have students from the past who do want to spend time with you, check in with you. They want you to know that
maybe they just feel bad for me.
Maybe they feel bad for how they acted in their class.
No, that's true. They should.
Yeah. But the bottom line is that they're still in contact with you.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Oh,
so not only are you good at it, you get to see the fruits of it. And now you're going into something that we have no idea what the fruits will be.
Yeah.
And it's not just this that's new for you. It's your every single day that's new. So it's a wanted change.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean it's not going to require some growth and pain. And I was thinking for myself when Ben and I had been married 5 years before we had our first child. And that was a change, a wanted change. We wanted to have a baby and our little boat was rocked to the core. It was so challenging. Everything was thrown off. We both went from working every day, hanging out at night, just the two of us and attention.
Yeah, you were in a good groove.
Yes. And then a little baby that we actually wanted came along and we were like, oh, this is what it feels like to drown. Great. And then as soon as you find your rhythm again in that canoe of life, we had another baby and we're like, okay, now we're drowning for real this time. And honestly, we're just in a constant state of drowning. And we're like, oh, look at this beautiful world underwater. But that was a wanted change. And then there's a whole nother category of unexpected changes. I have a quote from Sadhguru. He does philosophy. He's done yoga since the 80s and he shares messages. He says this: when you were young, you were not looking for comfort. You were looking for life. Now you are not looking for life. You are looking for comfort.
Yeah. So, I like that a lot.
Me too. I
want the comfort.
I want the comfort. And it's the truth. When you're young, I look at my little ones who are completely reckless day in and day out. They don't think about consequences of things. They just do things.
Yeah.
My daughter is one day opening up a pet salon and the next day she's designing earrings to sell to the neighbors. And
so
she
great.
just fearlessly lives her life. I think I put so much energy into how can we be comfortable? How can I have things in control, not hey, how can we add chaos? Because it already feels chaotic. Just are seeking control all of the time. We have to let that go.
Oh.
You're like, no, I don't want to. But we don't want to let it go, truly.
Yeah, we don't. I want to stay in my job, my teaching job, where I know I have friends and I know the administration. I know the community. I've taught my students' parents. I feel comfortable there, and that's where I want to stay. It's scary to go out and face the real world.
Right. Well, it makes sense because no matter what's thrown at you in a day, you've probably seen it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you have handled it before. I think it's easy to forget the first time that you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, it is.
That you didn't know how to handle it. It's you put yourself in a different zone when you first started and took on this experience. And once upon a time when you started, the kids were not that much younger than you.
Yeah, they weren't.
And that's scary.
It is,
and so it's scary to start new things. So it's important to remember what's possible, what happens when you are outside of the comfort zone. And I think of that even at the gym. You don't see changes that you want to see at the gym without being uncomfortable. And I'm either 100% in the zone and I'm slaying the meal plan or I'm double fisting burritos. And I'm like, I surely have larger leggings somewhere. Strange those shrunk. But when I'm in the zone, when I'm there, I do this mental talk to myself. And when it starts to get really hard and I want to be done, I say to myself, this is where the change happens. When I don't want to keep going, when I'm done for the day, when I don't want to speed up or I don't want to lift more, I say, this is where the change happens. What do I want? I want the change. That's what I'm seeking for. We need to do that for our mental, for our spiritual, for our emotional well-being too. We need to accept that is where the change happens, is outside of the comfort zone.
I love that example, Cydni, because what you're explaining is that change is super hard, but that is how we grow in life, is with those changes. And that is how we improve ourselves with change.
So though changes are difficult, there's so much to be gained from changes.
Absolutely. That reminds me, when I went to college, I moved away from home. I went down there with some of my friends. And the first year we had so much fun. It was so great, and I loved every second of it. I just loved going to college, everything about it. And then my second year, I really didn't know anybody. The people that I had met went on missions, or they dropped out of school, or they were done with school, or they went to a different school. They were gone, and I didn't know anyone. And I remember the first month I was down at school, I remember just saying a prayer, please, Heavenly Father, just help me find some friends. And I am so shy. It was really hard to push myself out of that comfort zone because I felt safe with the friends that I had made and I loved being around them. And now I didn't know anybody. And so I had to push myself out of that comfort zone. And you know what I learned from that is that when you're in a situation that you are so uncomfortable with, I hated not having any friends, that it made me do things that I would never dream of doing ever as a shy kid. I went to these parties where I didn't know anybody, nothing bad. Okay. But I would go places where I didn't really know a lot of people. I started trying to be more talkative to people that I lived by because I understood that I needed to try to push myself to be a little bit more talkative and outgoing. I think that the Lord knew that I was a hot mess because he pushed me right into some amazing friends.
were a hot mess.
Fair.
I think the Lord knows you are a hot mess.
Fair point.
And he loves you.
He loves me for that hot mess. So anyway, the friends that he gave me while I was down at school were amazing people. And a lot of them, I still talk to them. I'm still in contact with them. And when I got done with college, I could not say enough gratitude and thank you prayers to Heavenly Father for taking care of me and helping me find really good people that I could be friends with.
I think that's so relatable because a lot of us are very uncomfortable meeting new friends, and you go through different stages, whether it's when you're in elementary school and you've got to learn how to make friends at the playground. And then when you get in high school and you're in classes with different people that you've never seen before, when you go to college, or even when you become a new mother. And
when you retire and leaving all your friends at work.
It's true. It just keeps going. We're never done.
It's true.
In the next life, we're going to be like, so how'd you die?
Yeah, exactly.
What was it like for you?
I know it.
Great. But I remember as a new mother as well that I had no mom friends. I was new to Utah and I didn't know anybody.
And so you just feel so isolated.
But if you accept the challenge to get outside, I think I was better at picking up moms than I ever was a boy. I was like, so which one's yours? He's got your eyes.
You had the swagger for that.
I got so many numbers. I'd be like, Ben, guess how many mom's numbers I got at the park today? I went from having no friends for 18 months. And then I picked up my first friend, Janelle.
Nice.
Shout out. She's Canadian. And it broke the ice. It was the first time I made a friend at a park. And then from there, I have a list of the most amazing moms.
So great.
And it was the worst at first. And I got turned down sometimes. And we would get together sometimes and it just didn't click.
You got turned down by moms?
Yes. Or you'd talk for a while and you'd just be like, this, I don't want to swipe left. I don't know. So if you're out there and you're a new mom and you have no friends, get out there. There's other lonely people that want a friend. We don't have to be lonely. We could be together.
So Cydni, if you know change is coming your way, or if it just smacks you in the face, how can we prepare for that?
I actually sat and meditated on this. Truly, I did. I was wondering, how do you prepare for change? How do you prepare for something that you don't know is coming? How do you prepare for life's punch in the throat? Right? But I thought of something.
Okay,
Something
good.
came to my mind.
Good.
I think we go towards it. We need to start making changes now and get it under our belt, get better at it. And I had some thoughts on what you could do because we get so used to our routines because we want that comfort. And if we change up our routines, we could get adjusted to change better. And I mean very simple things. Don't park in the same spot at the gym or at work. Park in a new spot. How long have you parked at the same spot?
A lot.
Have you?
And I
truly
always
same area.
I always sit at the same spot at lunch, and everybody knows, and no one sits there.
You should ride that out. Ride that out.
Oh, I'm riding that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
But what if you park in a different spot? What if you sit in a different place at church? What if you did your hair different? I was just thinking of the smallest things. Go to a different grocery store. We go to the same grocery store all of the time. But what if I went to a different location?
You wouldn't be able to find your groceries.
Then adjust.
Okay. That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. Just kidding. Grocery shopping is the worst. What if I actually ordered it online that's out there and convenient that I've never done in my life?
Oh, that's what I do.
You do?
Love it.
Why don't I do that?
I don't know. You just go, throw it in your car, drive away. It's the best.
Seek change and convenience. I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
that's
you
what I'm going
should.
to do. I'm going to try it.
You should. It's the best.
I hate going to the grocery store.
I know.
And then
Online.
I always buy stuff I don't want. And then I'm like, oh, my kids are not going to feel good if they eat this. So I better eat it in the car on the way home. And then I'm like, this is where the change happens. The change I don't want. Goodbye, little Debbie's.
No, keep the little Debbies.
No, I ate them.
Oh, good. I thought you were throwing them out the window.
Never.
My bad.
I never do that to little Debbie.
Oh, good. Little Debbie doesn't deserve that. So I volunteer for credit union, and I got to go to a conference about a month ago. And obviously this is talking about the business world, but I learned something that I thought maybe could apply to us. First of all, try to see the changes before they get here and have a plan ready for it. So if you know something's coming, try to get everything ready, try to make a plan. The next thing is ask a lot of questions. The next one is explore your options, but be courageous. And the next one is learn everything you can. And I like that because for me, I know a change is coming and I want to go through all the options and learn and try to make a plan, get organized, and push myself into my next set of goals that I want to accomplish in the next stage of my life. So I think that's really good advice when you know the change is coming. So I really like listening and learning about that while I was there. But then when you're thinking about how to prepare for changes that you don't know are happening, I think that takes on a different look. And that's being grounded spiritually, physically, mentally, trying to get grounded to prepare yourself for things in life that you have no idea are going to, like you said, punch you in the throat.
I agree. Or reground yourself, because there's going to be times that it throws it off. And it's interesting because in my very simple daily life schedule of getting the kids to school or getting to my class for my workout on time is disrupted, I have a harder time than when we've had our car stolen. When it was big, we're just going to roll with this one. We're just going to take the throat punch because it's a full throat punch. We're just going to roll with it and figure it out. But when it's little things like my son is having a bad day and doesn't want to go to school, and now we're running late, and then he forgot his backpack, and now I'm not going to make my class. And it's all of this domino effect of my schedule's thrown off. That is where I have to reground myself. And for myself, I have found changing my tune, quite literally putting on music that I like, will help me reground. So spend time figuring out what will reground you. For me, writing really quick, writing out something in a journal on a piece of paper with a quick write down how I'm feeling. That's been proven over and over in many different capacities to help. You could write out, I feel so angry, so frustrated right now, and then rip it up, throw it away, and go from there. Put on music that you really like. Those are a few things. Just breathing techniques. I'll teach you this technique, but I've seen it several times, so I don't really have a person to give it credit to because it's just a breathing technique.
Okay.
You breathe in 2 times before you breathe out. So you breathe in very deeply, hold it, breathe in again, and then let it out. So do a deep breath in through your nose, and then breathe again deeper into your nose, and then slowly let it out through your mouth.
Feel the zen.
Yeah, there's different breathing techniques, but for whatever reason, that one has really helped me to stop the frantic mind, breathe for a second, and readjust for the little things. But then there's bigger things.
Ugh.
I think of my little brother who has gone through lots of changes in his life, and most recently, a beautiful and positive change as he is 5 years clean. Congratulations, little brother. And we recently spent some time with him, and my daughter was behind him. We were sitting at a table, and she had a Nerf ball in her hand. He's rambunctious, and she knows it. She had it aimed at him and the fierceness in her eyes. And she was like, dodgeball time to your head. And he was sitting there with his back towards her. And I said, dude, she's behind you and she has a ball. And he sat there and he took a deep breath in. And then he said the serenity prayer. He said, God, grant me the serenity to accept the thing I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And he got hit smacked right in the head. And I thought,
it's kind of how
beautiful.
Life is. That sums up life right there.
It sums it up entirely.
It does perfectly.
And I thought it was so funny because he couldn't change what was coming. And so he handled it the best way he could with a prayer. And then I actually, because of him, I looked up where it came from. It's given credit to Reinhold Niebuhr. And they believe it was a sermon that he did. And it was published in 1951. So I'm going to read you the original and the full thing. It says, God, give me grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things which should be changed, and wisdom to distinguish the one from the other, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right. If I surrender to your will so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen.
I love that.
Me too.
That
I'm
is
so grateful
great.
that my brother says it.
Right? I love the reasonably happy.
I love that
This
too.
is so perfect.
I have seen that throughout this week. It keeps coming to me because I want to be on cloud 9 all of the time. Life's changes keep knocking me off and punching me in the throat. And I keep seeing a message of this life, if you can be reasonably happy most of the time, congratulations, because the change is going to come. It's going to pull you in the comfort zone. The immense, endless joy is for the next life, which is the first time I've ever in my life thought, that's a good reason to look forward to the next life.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to have immense joy then. For now, Little Debbie snacks and leggings.
The one line that you said, I just loved it, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. When you said that, I thought about how when the change first happens, how really it's awful. And that feeling of, I am never, ever going to get through this or over this. And that's when you fall to your knees and say, please help me. God will give you peace. And that's what I felt as you read that. I thought about those moments where the changes were unexpected, and God does answer your prayers, and he will help you have peace even through the hardest change.
I love that so much. It makes me think when we talk to our children, I always tell them, each of them, that they made my heart bigger. And I tell them that when I had you, my heart grew bigger, which sounds cheesy, but each child that has come along has given me a greater capacity to love. And
so good.
Through it, though, each pregnancy has been incredibly difficult and even life-threatening, 2 of them, and has challenged our marriage and has challenged our life in 100 ways. But I feel like with each change and each challenge that comes along, our capacity grows. And that is not a pleasant process, especially when you're talking of grief or those really huge changes that you truly don't want and that you don't understand and potentially won't understand your entire life of why it had to happen.
I love how you put that, because that is what the hard change can do, is it really can mold you and form you and change you to become a better person, more empathetic, to show more love, really to become more like Christ. That's what it's pushing us towards, even though it stinks so bad and it's so hard. But when you come out on the other side, it really does help you be a better person and help people around you.
Right. If you allow the changes to come and shape you, then you can be a tool to help others going through the same thing and help others along their journey as well. When it's the really difficult changes that happen in our life that we don't understand, I often think of my best friend growing up. Her dad once shared with me a story or a dream that he had had. His family went through a really difficult challenge that stretched them, and he just did not know how he was going to get through it. It was so much. It was so heavy. It was dramatic. It was drastic. It was ugly as possible. And he prayed and asked, how am I supposed to do this? This is too much. I cannot. It is too much. Take it. And he had a dream. And in the dream, an angel appeared to him. And the angel said, how are you feeling? And he replied, this is too much. It is too heavy. I cannot do this. And the angel said, come with me. And he lifted him up over his house. And he could see from the top of his roof looking down. And the angel said, how do you feel now? And he replied, this is too much. It's too heavy. I cannot do this. And the angel said, come with me again. And he took him higher over the whole town. And he said, how about now? And he looked over and the house was smaller and he could see the trees. And he said, it's too much. It's too big. I need it to be taken from me. Our family can't handle this. And the angel took him higher, all the way up into the universe. And he looked down to see Earth as just a tiny little dot. And he said, how do you feel now? And he said, he paused and he said, it's so small. And the angel said, that's right. This is so small. You can handle it. And I feel like that is a great reminder that sometimes when you are in the thick of it, when the mud is so thick that you can't trek through, you feel like a complete loss. But so often, trekking through that mud, you become so strong. And when you get out, you are able to see what you can accomplish. And even more importantly, you can, if you accept it, become who God sees you as, the divinity in you. I think it would be really difficult to go through the things we go through without the perspective of another life, without a perspective of that we are an eternal soul. Because if you think that you're just on this earth and then it's over, then you would just want all the joy, all the peace, and all the comfort. Yeah. Why would it matter? But that's not the truth. The truth is that we are eternal souls, that we exist now that we will exist in the future. And because of that, God is creating us to be who we are capable of becoming and bringing out the divinity in us.
That story was so good. Just think back through your life and situations that seemed, I cannot get through it. And now even looking time, what it does, looking back at that perspective, I don't ever want to say I did it. I want to say with God, we did it. We got through that time, and having that different perspective and seeing that problem or that situation, it was hard, but in retrospective, I can see how I grew. And then all of this growth and change, it gets us to where we're supposed to be, to our divine purpose, how God sees us as his children.
Right. I'm going to take it back to the gym one more time, because one time...
I need to take it back to the gym too. Okay.
One time though, I was working out and it did feel heavy, but I did my sets and looked over at the weight and I realized it was 40 pounds heavier than I had been doing. And I thought to myself, I've been struggling, but it was all in my head. This whole time I had the potential to be lifting so much more. And I never would have done that myself. I would have not said, hey, you know what? Let's go harder. Love to be that personality, but I also like comfort and I hate pain. And I, without noticing, had it on the wrong weight. And I thought, I am so much stronger than I realized. And that is the case for all of us. We are so much stronger than we realize. We have so much more to give. And one way or another, that's going to be pulled out of you. So go towards that pain for that gain. You're welcome for that. One thing's for certain, I think we've concluded today, is change is the only consistent thing we're going to see.
It's going to happen whether you like it or not.
And the same guy, the Sadhguru, said that every moment changes. You're one moment inhaling and one moment exhaling. And even if you decided to stop, it's going to be a change for you. If we want to be somebody who accepts change, we have to be willing to see the bigger picture, change our perspective.
Because that's going to help us grow and to become a better person.
Right. Just seek out the discomfort zone. Be okay with pain. And that is difficult.
It is so
I'm
hard.
really bad at it.
Me too.
But this is where the change happens. What changes do you want? Think about that. Make small changes now.
Also remember, as changes happen, whether they're planned or unplanned, that God has your back and he's going to be there for you. And it's those moments where you fall to your knees in humility and beg for help. He is going to help you find peace and strength to get through whatever change it is that you're facing.
And remember the quote from the beginning that when we were young, we sought life, not comfort. So why not now decide to seek life again? What changes do you want to make? Who do you want to be? Why not start now? You don't have to wait for a new year. You don't have to wait for a Monday. What do you want to change?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just retire.
And so our challenge is change something this week. Make a change. If you're feeling it and you want to do something massive, change the way you're eating, change the way you dress, change your nail color, something dramatic like that, then do it. But if you're not ready, then change the way you drive home, change the store you go to, change something simple and challenge your mind a little bit. It is in such a routine. Change your mind and it will get you into a frame of mind of change. And change is okay. Change is exciting. Live again. Get out of that comfort zone and live again.
It's hard, but we can all work on it. I'm going to work on it. Sydney's going to work on it. We got this. I am going to park in a different spot.
And I'm going to finish a load of laundry.
We got this.
Woo. Have a great week.
See ya.
I'm forging my way through the tip top.